Remember, it was once called a gentleman's game, because ideally the game has no room for sledging, cheating, temper tantrums, etc. But this, of course, utopia ended a long, long time back. And earlier this week, we were given a harsh reminder when a game of cricket seems to have almost resulted in a diplomatic tiff between two countries. I'm talking, of course, about Australia and England, the two countries currently playing their Test cricket series called the Ashes, the series that originated way back in the 1880s. During one of the Test matches earlier this week, things went south. English batsman Jonny Bairstow was stumped by Australian wicketkeeper Alex Carey. Bairstow essentially ducked a bouncer and then, thinking the over was over, he wandered out of the crease. He thought the over had ended, but it hadn't. And Carey hit the stumps. Bairstow was declared out. The moment seemed to become a turning point in the match, of course, but also became quite a diplomatic row. Australia went on to win the Test and take a 2-0 series lead. But the manner of Bairstow's dismissal became the talk of the town. Was it fair? Was it against the spirit of cricket? You see, England and Australia are clearly not cricketing best friends, and Bairstow's dismissal fueled the flames between the two countries in the middle of the Ashes. English fans were furious. Before you knew it, the debate took a political turn. A spokesperson for the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said, and I quote, "The Prime Minister agrees with England captain Ben Stokes, who said the dismissal was against the spirit of cricket." The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese responded with a tweet of his own. He said, "I'm proud of our men's and women's cricket teams who have both won their opening two Ashes matches against England. Same old Aussies, always winning." How often do we see two heads of state, two heads of government getting involved in a sporting argument? Well, not quite gentlemanly, is it? So what was it about this particular game and this incident that got matters so much out of control? Joining me now to discuss this, Jack Hope from the Cricket Podcast Live. Joining me now from London. Jack, so it seemed to have become, well, quite a row, didn't it? I mean, of course, it's clear that Bairstow was out because the ball wasn't dead. So he was out. Carey did throw that ball before he knew he was going to wander out in quite that fashion. Against the spirit of the game, you think?
It's a really interesting one, isn't it? And I think it divides along the lines of whether you think the spirit of cricket should be part of the rules or not. For me personally, I would have retracted the appeal, but I understand and I respect Pat Cummins' decision not to. He felt that it was fair. He said it afterwards, and he explained that Carey, the wicketkeeper, had seen Jonny Bairstow leaving his crease on multiple occasions through his innings and thought it would be a legitimate thing to do, to throw the ball at the stumps and appeal. So, look, there are two sides to the argument. There are good arguments for both. For me personally, I thought it was slightly against the spirit of cricket because I'm a romantic, and I think that still applies to the game.
This really seemed to have infuriated the British public quite a lot. I mean, the amount of column inches that were there in the British newspapers about this incident are probably more than they give to the Ashes in general. It was just like lots of it, Sunak getting involved. Why did it rile the British so much? Was it because it's the Ashes and the Australians, or something more to it?
Well, it's definitely in part. I think there are a few other factors going on as well. At the moment in the UK, there's not really a lot else happening from a sporting point of view. Wimbledon just kicked off on Monday. There's no Premier League. There's no England football internationals. So the Ashes is the biggest show in town right now. And you say it was massive news. It wasn't just big news in sport. It was on the front page of 6 or 7 of our biggest newspapers: The Sun, The Telegraph, The Guardian, The Times, The Metro, with quite inflammatory headlines. Same old Aussies, spirit of cricket reduced to ashes, shameless stumping storm, same old Aussies, a bare-faced sneak, giving you a flavour of that reaction. It was very, very hostile and was genuinely the biggest news in town on Monday.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us from London, and let's hope that things quieten down for the rest of the Ashes. The focus is more on the game rather than the things around it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. Yeah, the cricket's been great. Let's get back to that.
Right. Thank you so much for being with us.